Live from Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill, it's the Aztec Coaches Show. Here's your host, Chris Ello.
Let's go, Aztec fans. Let's hear you. Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday night. That must be time for the Aztec Coaches Show with Aztec football coach Rocky Long. I'm Chris Ello. Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill here in Grossmont Center, the official sponsor for the Aztec Coaches Show with Rocky Long. Hooley's the home to the famous corned beef tacos. How many people got corned beef tacos out there tonight? Let's hear you. Other award-winning menu items, and of course, we'll have the coach with us on Wednesdays throughout this entire college football season. We also want to thank the folks at Quality First Real Estate, San Diego's top real estate company. We can help you buy, sell, and manage San Diego real estate. When it comes to real estate, it's always Quality First. Click qualityfirstrealestate.com. Well, there are 21 new coaches in college football this season around the country. 7 of those coaches are 2-0. Let me introduce you to one of them, the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, Rocky Long. Coach, congratulations on the victory over Army and a 2-0 start.
Thank you. It's a lot better than the alternative.
Well, I think, let's start a little bit with the trip itself back to the East Coast. I mean, I don't think people really realize what an effort your kids put in and gave you to win that football game. I think people watched the football game and they saw Army do some things and run the ball and control the clock, but they don't know all the behind the scenes and what goes into a trip like that, cross country and playing at 9 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. I don't know that it had an effect on your guys one way or another. All I do know is that you guys overcame whatever it was and came out of there with a win.
Well, I'm proud of our players. I'm more proud of them after I watched the film. I was a little disappointed on how we played right after the game. And then after I watched the film, I realized it wasn't us, it was Army. I mean, the situation with the anniversary of 9/11 and everything, Army played with so much emotion, and the college football game is won and lost on emotion. They played so hard and so well, so much better than they did the week before. I think it was a surprise to everybody. It wasn't a surprise to our kids because they knew they were going to play like that. We talked about the kind of kids that go to the academy. We talk about when things don't go very well to them, they're the kind that buck up and play much, much better. I think our kids handled the distraction of the trip, which took forever to get there, but they handled that really well. They kept their focus. And after I watched the film, we didn't play real good. We didn't execute real good, but we played really hard and we played really physical. And I think it won us the game because we knocked the quarterback who was killing us. Yeah. We knocked him out of the game near the end, and we were able to stop him and come out with the win. I'm proud of the players because they played hard. They played with emotion. They played against a very upbeat, emotional team, and somehow we found a way to win it.
I mean, you brought this up in your post-game comments when we talked on Saturday or when you talked with Mike Costa after the game. This was the kind of game that San Diego State probably in years past would not have found a way to win. To allow 43 minutes of time of possession to 17, the rushing yardage that they had, your offense just never got a chance to really get into rhythm because they really weren't on the field that much. This is the kind of game that San Diego State, red and black, used to find a way to lose, and maybe this signals a little turn, a little change, a little turn in the right direction to find a way to win a game in which statistically maybe you were outplayed a little bit.
Yeah, their coach, Rich Ellerson, and I are really good friends, and I thought their coaches did a great job of scheming against us. And part of that is because they were able to watch us play against several option teams over the last couple of years, and he told me before the game that they'd watch every time we'd played a triple option team. So they had a pretty good feel for what we were going to do, and they did a good job of scheming against us. They did some things on defense that gave our offense a little trouble too. So you have to give them credit. You have to give their coaches credit. You have to give their team credit. But once again, there are times, and I've been told this, but even in the last 2.5 years I've been here, there were times that we've been in games just like that, and we found a way not to win.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that's a sign that we get into tough games and our kids are getting tougher mentally and we can pull some of those out.
Well, you pulled that one out beautifully on Saturday and go to 2-0. The Aztecs getting set to host Washington State this Saturday, 3:30 kickoff at Qualcomm Stadium. We'll talk about that game with the coach as we move along here on the Aztec Coaches Show. Let me go ahead and give you the phone numbers. If you're not here with us at Hooley's, you can call in toll-free wherever you are listening to the program, 800-600-KOGO, or in San Diego, it is 858-569-TALK. That's 858-569-TALK. And, of course, for those of you that are here at Hooley's, get some questions ready. You guys got to do a little better job this week out here in the crowd on some questions for Coach Rocky Long. We'll have that coming up in the second half of the program. Coach, again, offensively in this football game, I got a couple of emails. You might have got more than a couple of emails, but everybody wanted to know what happened to our tight ends in this game against Army on Saturday. I don't think they caught a single ball. You threw to Quigley. You threw to Escobar a couple of times. It didn't connect. What did Army do? You talked about some of the things they schemed against you. What did they do that gave your offense problems in this game?
Well, it's kind of what we worried about going into the season. They were able to give us a look that looked like they were going to play soft zone, and by the time the ball was being snapped, they had a bunch of guys in the box that made it harder to run than normal. And it allowed them to take away the tight ends because the tight ends are within the box and they're running routes within the box. Now, we had a couple tight ends open.
Yeah.
And we talk about the disparity between the possession time. Some of that is Army keeping the ball and getting first downs, and some of it's us not making first downs when we can. I mean, we dropped some passes that would have kept drives alive. We dropped a pass that would have been a for sure touchdown. We weren't in real good rhythm, but we also didn't allow ourselves to get into rhythm because we were 3 and out several times. Now, some of it's them keeping the ball away and moving it down the field, but probably the difference in the game was the turnovers. I'm a little disappointed. We caused 9 fumbles and only got 3 of them. Well, we got 5 of them, but we were only given 3 of them.
I was going to say, yeah, there was a couple you guys got that you didn't get the call on, but your guys were, the physical play on defense, and again, to get Steelman out of the game on that final drive, you got him out of the game twice on that final drive, and that was crucial. The second to last play, I think the hit that caused the fumble on that play got him out of the game, set them up for a 3rd and long, and then you had McFadden knock a guy down and knock a pass away, and then Jerome Long, who was the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week, comes up with your only sack of the day. If you're going to come up with a sack, that was the time to get it because it took them right out of field goal range and basically clinched the game for you.
Well, that Jerome sack, that was the only time we knew for sure that they were actually going to throw a pass.
Yeah, that's right.
The rest of the time they didn't ever have to throw a pass because they were on rhythm and they were getting first downs, even though they had a couple big plays, but they were getting 3.5, 4 yards, 5 yards. Well, 3 of those makes a first down.
Yeah.
And the clock keeps running and they keep the ball away from your offense. And that's the idea around the triple option anyway.
Well, one thing you told us last week, if anybody listened to the program last week or was here at Hooley's, you really diagnosed and broke down for us why the triple option is such a great offense and why, if it's run correctly and the quarterback makes the right decisions, that sometimes no matter what you do defensively, there's still really no way to completely shut it down. And I thought their quarterback, Steelman, ran the option almost to perfection in that game. It seemed like he made the proper read every single time. I didn't look at the film like you did. But that one play, and I want to ask you about this because you're great at explaining to the fans, where they fake the dive and then pull the ball out, and then the quarterback runs right behind the guy he just faked it to. That play, if I never see that play again, it'll be too soon because that just drove us absolutely crazy in the game on Saturday, and Steelman seemed to pick up so many yardage on that one play alone. And what can you do to slow it down? I don't know what you can do to slow it down.
Well, let's tell the whole story here.
Okay.
We will see that play again because we play Air Force. And they'll watch that film, so we will see that play again. Army had not run that play very much. It is a triple option play. It's called the midline. Usually they read the guy outside the tackle's block. Now they're reading the guy outside the guard's block, and the tackle loops out, which brings the defensive end wide. Okay, so if you have a guy that closes to the fullback on the dive, they bring a slot back in there, and he lead blocks for the quarterback. Okay, so it's a quarterback carrying the ball with a lead blocker, and they've already eliminated one of your defenders by making him tackle the dive.
Yeah.
Okay, there are some things you can do against that, And we did. We made some adjustments on the sidelines to take away that play. But as soon as you take away that play, it opens up the veer option or the veer triple option. So then they would get us back to our basic defense, and then they would run the midline follow. We call it midline follow because he's following a slot back through the hole. So then they go back to the midline follow, and if you're not in the right defense, the quarterback gets to keep the ball and he gains a whole bunch of yards. Now give them some credit because in their first game they did not run it. Last year they only ran the midline option 3 or 4 times during the season. They were totally a veer option team.
Mm-hmm.
So they saw how well we play against the veer option, and they put the midline follow in, and we did not react very well to it. So you got to give them credit. The only thing that we did really good on defense is we knocked the hell out of them, and we caused fumbles. And that kept them from scoring a lot of points.
All right, so the name of that play is, again, what, the midline follow?
The midline follow.
The midline follow. All right, I hate the midline follow. I don't ever want to see the midline follow, but you're right. We're going to see it again when you play
see it again, yeah.
Air Force later on in the season. Coach Rocky Long is 2-0 as the Aztecs beat Army 23-20. When we come back, we'll get set up for Saturday night. The Aztecs getting set to host Washington State. The Aztec Coaches Show is underway. Get your questions ready for the coach at 858-569-8255, 800-600-KOGO. And Polly will be walking around with the microphone, so we'll have some questions from our audience here at Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill, the Wednesday Night Coaches Show from Learfield Sports. And welcome back to Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill in Grossmont Center. Come on, people, let's hear it. The Aztecs are 2-0. How about this stat? Jim Sturk knows this stat. Jim Sturk, the athletic director at San Diego State, he knows this stat. Last 52 games, San Diego State football and men's basketball, San Diego State's won 45, lost 7. How about that? Huh? I just thought I'd throw that out there. 45-7, football and men's basketball combined last year and so far this year. Coach Rocky Long is with us, the Aztec Coaches Show. Don't forget, fans, the Warrior Walk takes place at 1:30 this Saturday, all right? 1:30 is when you want to be out there. Sections E and F in the stadium parking lot. Be part of this tradition when the team makes its walk into Qualcomm Stadium, starting in the E3, F3 parking area, finishing up in the Aztec Village in parking area F1. So be sure to come on out early on Saturday and be there for the Warrior Walk. It's at 1:30. Kickoff is at 3:30. As the Aztecs get set to take on Washington State. Coach, let's talk a little bit about the game against Washington State coming up on Saturday. I loved your comments earlier this week about playing a Pac-12 opponent and the statistics that are out there that the Aztecs have lost 19 in a row to the Pac-12. And you said something to the effect of you just think San Diego State, to a certain extent, has been brainwashed by the sense that teams in the Pac-12 are supposed to be better than teams in the Mountain West Conference. You want to make sure that your team doesn't think that way going into this game on Saturday.
Well, I don't know what the kids have been told, but I also know when you're out there recruiting, especially in the state of California, in the recruiting wars, they're always told that the Pac-12 is better. And the Pac-12 teams use that to their advantage in recruiting. Well, I was an athlete at one time. And I don't understand any athlete that goes into a competition at this level and believes that someone else is better than they are. Even if they are, why would you go in the game thinking they're better? Everybody's got to prove they're better. That's why you play. That's why you compete. You got to prove who the best team is. But I also think that kids hear that so much, especially while they're in high school, that you end up playing a Pac-12 team or a BCS team. And there's an underlying feeling by those players that maybe those guys are better because they were recruited to supposedly a better school because they're in the BCS. Now personally, that upsets me. And
I'm glad it upsets you because it upsets me too.
And obviously, I don't believe that, and I think most of our players don't believe that. And as we get into the recruiting deal, we'll make sure that our players don't believe that. What is happening in college football right now are the teams that don't believe that and play to that level get asked to join those leagues. We lost Utah. Utah beat the heck out of almost all the BCS teams, quote, that they played. So they said, well, those guys are pretty good, so we'll invite them in our league.
Yeah.
So it happens. Boise State's like that right now. There's no reason we can't be like that. But first of all, you got to overcome the mentality that they're better than you are. They're not better than we are. And if they are, they got to prove that they are. I mean, walking into any kind of competition where you think someone's better than you, you're at a huge disadvantage.
I would think so. Washington State comes in. They are 2-0. This is a game you guys are favored, so make sure you guys at least check out the point spread. The Aztecs are favored by a touchdown in this game, but you know that you're going up against a very confident team. Even though they played Idaho State and UNLV, they have put up 123 points, and they have averaged 600 yards per game in their first two games. So you are getting a very confident football team in Washington State. I would imagine your defense trying to take away some of that confidence is going to be a key.
Well, I think I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be fun for people to watch. I think there's going to be a lot of action on the field. I know there's a fireworks show after the game, but I think there's going to be some fireworks during the game too. I think it's two pretty good football teams that are trying to prove to everybody that we belong with the best, and we get to play each other. I think it's a great matchup. I know Jim set this up way back when, but he also helped them. I think Washington State did a great job of hiring a really good coach and saying, we're going to give you a chance to build a program. So he has built a program from the bottom up. Now he's got mature players that redshirted. He recruited really well. He's got mature players that redshirted. And guess what? They're playing like a good, mature football team that has outstanding athletes. Now, I'm sure they're surprising everybody else, but if you look the way the program was built, it is not a surprise. And if you watch them on film, guess what? They're really good. I mean, so I think it's going to be a great football game. It's going to be a great test for us, and anybody that loves a very competitive, exciting game, they better show up.
They will. It'll be a 3:30 kickoff this Saturday, the Aztecs in Washington State. Let me just really quickly ask you about your offense heading into this football game. Do you guys feel like you're going to need to score a bunch of points to keep up with Washington State? Is it that kind of a game where you need to play aggressive like that and get sevens?
It depends on who you're asking. If you're asking the defensive coordinator, that's one answer. If you're asking,
that's right. Okay.
if you're asking the head coach, that's another answer.
All right, I'll ask the head coach this one.
Okay, I think that we better score a bunch of points.
Okay, we better score a bunch of points. All right, well, it'll be a great one coming up on Saturday night, the Aztecs in Washington State. We trust everybody that's here at Hooley's will be there for that one. The Warrior Walk is at 1:30. We're going to take a break on our Aztec Coaches Show for a quick Kogo news update, but when we come back, Polly's got the microphone. We're going to go out and get some questions here in our live audience at Hooley's for the head coach of the Aztecs, Rocky Long. It is the San Diego State Coaches Show every Wednesday night at Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill. Also located in Rancho San Diego, award-winning, great food, great draft and bottled beer selections, fantastic happy hour specials too. Click Hoolies.com for directions and more. Hooley's, the official host location of the Aztec Football Coaches Show. Thanks to Craig. We'll be coming back right after the break. More with the head coach, Rocky Long from Learfield Sports and AM 600 Kogo. Hey, Aztec fans, you can follow the fun and excitement of SDSU athletics on Facebook at facebook.com/Aztec Game Time. You can win prizes, compete in contests, and interact with other passionate Aztec fans, just like all of these folks here that are here tonight at Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill in Grossmont Center for our Aztec Coaches Show. Each week, fans are winning free Papa John's pizzas, Smash Burger, Smash Bucks, In-N-Out Double Doubles, and Rubio's gift cards. And Aztec Game Time is your inside source for all things Aztec. So become a fan now of Aztec Game Time on Facebook, and that'll get you game time ready. We also want to thank our friends at Quality First Commercial, a full-service commercial real estate firm. Visit their webpage at qualityfirstcommercial.com. QFC is there for all of your commercial real estate needs. Coach Rocky Long alongside the Aztec Coaches Show. Aztecs taking on Washington State. Saturday kickoff is at 3:30 in the afternoon. And for those who don't know, the following week when the Aztecs travel to Ann Arbor to play Michigan, that is going to be another 9 a.m. kickoff time. So we'll have another breakfast with the Aztecs coming up a week from now when the Aztecs play Michigan. But right now it's time for some questions from our fans here at Hooley's for the coach Rocky Long. Polly has the honors and has the microphone. Go ahead, sir. Start us off.
Hello, Coach Long. I'm a Rabbit fan. I didn't go to college, but I just want to ask who are looking for a quarterback for next year after Ryan Lindley leaves, and who are looking for wide receivers? And are you looking in the local area?
Well, we always look in the local area first, and there's some awfully good football players in the San Diego area. Now, getting them has been a problem in the past, and we're going to try to change that. Quarterback Adam Dingwell is the backup right now, and he's a redshirt freshman. Jake Bernards is a redshirt sophomore. He's the third-string quarterback. Chad Jeffries is a true freshman that we recruited last year. I can't talk about. We already have a quarterback, a senior high school quarterback that is committed to come. Obviously, the rules prevent me from talking about him or saying who he is. So Adam Dingwell is the backup right now. So I would say he's the heir apparent. But that was a battle with him and Jake during camp, and it will probably be a battle after Ryan leaves. And hopefully we won't have to see them yet this year. Ryan will have a great year and stay healthy.
You always get a lot of questions about recruiting wherever you go. Do people always ask you who you're recruiting? And it seems like an age-old question in San Diego. How come every single San Diego star high school athlete doesn't come to San Diego State? I mean, you've only been here for a couple of years, but they've been asking coaches here that question for about 35 years.
Yeah, well, I'd love to answer that question.
Yeah.
Number one is, and you can tell that I've been recruiting for a long time in my coaching career.
You've done it a little bit. Yeah.
Every place I've ever been, the local kids, the majority of the local kids want to leave home. They want to be out of parental control. That is a normal for an 18-year-old young man. That is normal. So if he has an opportunity to go to a good university away from home, it doesn't have to be very far. It could be 3 or 4 hours. It could be in L.A. But I can remember when I was 18, I couldn't wait. I loved my parents to death. But I couldn't wait to get away from my parents and be on my own. Well, the kids have not changed. They think they're men. They think it's time for them to be on their own, making their own decisions. So it is difficult to keep a young man of 18 really close to home. Now, there's one way and one way only to do it.
Get the parents to move?
Well, no.
Oh.
that you play so well and you win so many games that there is community pressure for those kids to stay here. The community does not pressure these kids to stay in San Diego right now. Now we're back to the quote BCS or Pac-12.
Yeah.
The community tells kids that they ought to go to a Pac-12 school if they can. Why stay here? Go to the Pac-12. I'm not saying everybody, and I'm sure San Diego State fans aren't that, but there's a lot of pressure on kids to go off away from home to quote what they consider a better opportunity. But most of it is kids don't want to stay close to mom and dad, and I totally understand that.
Well, go get all the kids from L.A. then and bring them down here. The kids from L.A. who don't want to stay close to mom and dad. That's why I went to San Diego State, so maybe it'll work on that end as well. All right, let's get some more questions for Coach Rocky Long. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, Coach. I had a question about the Army game. When I was watching it, the announcers for Army, who announce all the Army games, said they were surprised that Army came out in the old-fashioned wishbone instead of their normal triple option offense. And Randy Cross said sometimes they were even running a broken T. Was that a surprise to you in your defense, that you hadn't seen that formation before from them?
It was not a surprise because you can line up like that and run the exact same plays. The angles are a little bit different. The way the fullback hits the line of scrimmage is a little different. The way the halfback's blocks a little different. So it causes you some problems because you've adjusted from two slot backs to guys actually in the backfield. So it does cause you a few problems. But since they run the same plays, it should not have been a big deal. Now, maybe I should ask the players if that was a big deal or not, but it should not have been a big deal, even though the angles changed.
When you look at 403 yards rushing at the end of a football game, I think the first reaction to that from an Aztec fan is one of a little bit of alarm. I mean, that they rushed for that many yards. But after you looked at the film, after you looked at the tape, and we discussed it a little earlier, how much of it was their great execution And how much concern do you have with your run defense after that game last Saturday?
Well, I have a concern with the run defense when we play Air Force.
Okay.
I don't know if I have a concern with the run defense yet until someone really tries to run the ball against us that's not a triple option team. I have some concern because 400 yards is way too many. I mean, 300 yards, a wishbone or triple option team that gains 300 yards, that's normal. That happens all the time. But 400 yards is a little too much. Just like a team like Washington State that's going to throw the ball, if they throw for 300 yards and we keep them out of the end zone, that's no big deal. People that are going to throw it 40, 50, or 60 times, they're going to get yards. That's just the way it works. But keeping them out of the end zone gives you a chance to win. Now, if they throw, I watched this in the NFL, if you throw for 517 or whatever Tom Brady did the other day, that's way too many. I mean,
that's too many.
That's way too many.
Yeah.
So a wishbone team that gains 300 yards, that's normal. 400 yards is too much, so I'm concerned against Air Force. Now, I got to wait on the other until someone actually tries to run the ball the normal way against us and see what our run defense is like.
All right. Tell us a little bit. We have one more question, Paulie, okay, from the crowd here at Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill for the coach, Rocky Long. Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, given that the last 3 games basically you've gone against option offenses, did it seem like the team, the defense specifically, was a little more excited for practice this week going against a more conventional offense?
The energy in practice has been better the last 2 days, and they are excited, but they're excited about playing because they really respect Washington State. They've watched them on film. They know they're really good. I'm not as excited because I also watched our pass coverage today. They're running around good, and they're trying hard, and they want to be good, but when you go 2 weeks against a wishbone team, now all of a sudden you're going against a spread team that's going to throw it 40, 50, or 60 times. A coach does have concerns about his pass coverage.
Tell us a little bit about, do a little chalkboard with us for just a couple of seconds here, Coach, to explain that not the obvious differences between a spread offense and a wishbone is that the wishbone runs all the time and the spread throws the ball all the time. But what else can you tell us about preparing for Washington State that's different about preparing for Army or Cal Poly before that?
Well, the spread offense is built totally on trying to get really good athletes in wide open spaces and make it a one-on-one tackle situation. And your athletes are better than the guys trying to tackle them, so even though if the guy tackles them, it's not a big gain, it ends up being a big game because there's a lot of one-on-one tackles in the open field. They try to spread you from sideline to sideline. They try to. It looks complicated. It is not. It is really simple. That's why it is so good because they can execute it so well. All the quarterback has to do is read how many guys are out in coverage and how many guys are in the box. They have normally a spread team has 5 offensive linemen, a quarterback, and a running back, and then the 4 wide receivers are spread from sideline to sideline. So the quarterback looks, and if you only have 5 guys in the box, in other words, you took the other 6 guys out there to pass coverage, he goes, oh, we got 5 blockers and a running back, and they only got 5 guys in here, so we can block every one of them and hand it to the running back and get a bunch of yards. So you say, okay, we're going to get at least 6 in the box. So now the quarterback looks and he goes, oh, they got 6 in the box. Oh, shoot, there's a lot of one-on-one deals out there with the wide receivers and DBs. All I got to do is get it to my really good wide receiver. He'll make that DB miss, and all of a sudden we're in the end zone. So it is really, really simple. So what most defenses do is they put guys halfway. Okay? They put 5 guys in the box, and then they got 2 guys that kind of are halfway in coverage and halfway in the box. Okay? So now it gets a little more complicated for the quarterback. He has to determine if he can get a wide receiver out there one-on-one by himself, or the guy that's halfway can get back in to help stop the run. So since you're playing a guy halfway, he's half effective. He's half effective stopping the pass, and he's half effective stopping the run. So now they got you spread from sideline to sideline. It totally turns into, are your athletes as good as their athletes? Okay?
Yep.
We've got to be able to tackle in wide open spaces to have a chance to win. And I have no idea until you play the game. They have no idea until we play the game if their guys can make us miss in the open field.
Well, are the 2 most important guys then on your defense against a team like Washington State, those 2 halfway guys? Are they kind of your most important people in terms of them having to make the proper reads, whether to come in and support run or go out and help with the pass?
Well, first of all, I didn't say we were putting guys halfway.
Right, okay, but I beg your pardon. That's right. We're not giving any secrets away. That's right, okay. But if you do have halfway guys, are they important?
Well, the guys you put kind of halfway out there in coverage and halfway in run support, they are important that they can get to both assignments equally well.
Okay. Give me a little quick rundown on Jerome Long. We're going to talk about him in the final segment, but he was the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week. For a nose tackle to have 10 tackles in a football game, that's an awful lot. The senior leader up front and the kind of game he had against Army. I would imagine one of the other ways to slow down a spread option or spread attack like Washington State is if you can get to the quarterback and harass him. And Jerome Long is coming off a big game for you.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can. If you have a dominant, that's why defensive linemen in the NFL are such a premium, and they pay them so much.
Yeah.
If you have 5 guys in the box, and they can dominate the line of scrimmage or stop the run with 5 in the box, shoot, you can stop the spread offense. That's why they take so many defensive linemen early in the draft. Jerome he had a great game last week because of the midline follow.
He was the guy, huh?
They weren't double teaming him. They were single blocking him, so he had a good game and made several tackles and, like you said, made the sack. Our defensive line, we play 3 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers. Our defensive line and linebackers have to be very physical up front, and they have to be able to rush the passer for us to even have a chance. So Jerome's a key part of that.
Was there anybody that you thought had a particularly not so good? And I'm not talking about individual players, but a group, a unit that did not play up to the level that you would have liked to have seen them play last week against Army?
Yeah, I don't think as coaches we did a very good job.
Coaches were the guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I think their coaches out-schemed us. I think their coaches gave them a better chance to win than we gave our kids a chance to win. And I think both teams played extremely hard, and our guys made enough plays to win the game. So I don't think we did a bad job of coaching. I just think they did a better job of coaching.
Well, we did a better job of winning, right? We're 2-0. The Aztecs go to 2-0. Look for 3-0. It's not going to be easy Saturday against this undefeated 2-0 Washington State Cougar team, which comes in here, as I said earlier, averaging 60. Who comes into a game averaging 61.5 points per game and 600 yards per game? That is a bit of a scary offense that's coming to San Diego on Saturday, but the Aztecs can present a pretty scary offense as well. It should be a lot of fun. We'll come back one final segment with the head coach of San Diego State, Mr. Rocky Long, our California Bank and Trust Student Athlete of the Week, is a guy who you will recognize, Coach. That's coming up next as we wrap things up from Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill, the Aztec Coaches Show from Learfield Sports and AM 600 Kogo. Hooley's Irish Pub and Grill, Grossmont Center, the Aztec Football Coaches Show. Chris Ello along with Rocky Long. The Aztecs getting set to take on Washington State. This Saturday kickoff is at 3:30, and, of course, the game features the annual KGB Sky Show following the game. And it's a 36th annual KGB Sky Show. I can't believe it already. Tickets for this game start at only $11, and you don't want to miss out on this great San Diego tradition. So to purchase tickets, and there's some remaining, but it's already, I understand, 40,000 or so coming in for this game on Saturday. Maybe a little more than that, Coach, but some tickets are still available at 619-283-SDSU. Or you can log on to goaztecs.com. And don't forget about the Warrior Walk, Aztec fans, taking place in stadium parking lot E3 to F3. You want to get there at 1:30 this Saturday afternoon to be part of the tradition when the Aztecs make their walk into Qualcomm Stadium. Coach Rocky Long, we got a few minutes left. Give me a couple of keys in your mind to this Saturday's game against Washington State. Kind of an age-old question, but things that you're looking for and keys. Obviously, maybe a little bit more ball control than last week, and keeping their spread under control seemed to pop to my mind anyway.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think our offense has to get into a rhythm. We're going to have to be able to run the ball and throw it a little bit. I have great respect for the athletes they have on defense. They've been playing really good defense, even though their offense is getting all the publicity. They've been playing really good defense, and so our offense has to have a good night. And as you say, our defense has to be able to slow them down or not give up big plays, so they have to earn the points they're going to get. Because obviously, if you're averaging 61 points a game, you're going to get some points. So we've got to try to keep them under control enough that our offense has a chance to score enough points and give us a chance to win.
Is there a sense that Washington State is coming in, obviously, with what they've done in their first couple of games with a certain level of confidence, and that you will do what you can as this football game goes along to try and take away some of that confidence a little bit, get them to realize that this Saturday it's San Diego State, and you're done with Idaho State and UNLV. You know, that mental edge that at least gets them doubting themselves a little bit, if you can do it.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can do it or not, but with people, they've seen what they've done the first 2 weeks. But if they go back and watch the last 3 or 4 weeks of last season, okay, when they played some really good football teams, they played Washington and they played Cal and they played Oregon State, and they really played well at the end of last season. And then they've played unbelievable at the beginning of this season, so they're coming in very confident. I think our football team's confident too. I think it's going to be a great football game. I think it's two confident teams coming in to play each other that have respect for each other and want to win really bad. I mean, that's what college football is all about. Now, obviously, we want to win and they want to win, but I think it's going to be a great game to watch. I think the competition is going to be unbelievable.
I'll tell you one thing, they're going to have a great KGB Sky Show after the game, but I think most of the excitement is going to be during this game on Saturday afternoon. The kickoff is at 3:30 at Qualcomm Stadium, the Aztecs in Washington State, and we'll have our pregame show right here on AM 600 Kogo beginning at 2:30 on Saturday afternoon, and of course the Warrior Walk is at 1:30, just so everybody's aware. We'll see you out there on Saturday. We want to thank everybody involved in the Aztec Coaches Show. That takes me a while, but I like to start with Scott Horvath and Polly for putting everything together and getting our interviews, and Scott, who mans our television camera, tells me today that the Aztec Coaches Show was online, being seen in Germany tonight, being seen in Venezuela tonight, and a whole bunch of viewers from the state of Washington, Coach. So they were trying to sneak a peek at but we didn't give them anything. We gave you nothing, Washington. We look forward to having you come down, though, and playing a great game on Saturday. It should be a lot of fun. Also want to thank Craig here at Hooley's for setting us up. Let's hear it for Craig at Hooley's, man, and taking care of us each and every Wednesday. My crack support staff at Extra Sports 1360. Our promotion department led by Mitch and Vince and the lovely Tiffany. Thank you guys. Kevin Boyle is our on-site engineer. He is the best there ever was. And back in the studio, Kevin Finnerty. Thank you very much, Kevin. And if I forgot somebody, Bob, good to see you, Bob, as always. Jeff Belitho from the marketing department. And the PR guys are here today. We got the media relations guys. Darren Wong is here. Leslie is here. Mike Bynum is over there. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all next Wednesday here at Hooley's at 7 o'clock for the Aztec Coaches Show from Learfield Sports and AM 600 Kogo. Good night, everyone.